Good afternoon, this is Solent Sports News. My name is Mark Francis. The Premier League is back this weekend, and in a moment we'll be speaking to Jacob Potter to preview Southampton's game on Sunday. But there's only one place to start.
Picking out Mkhitaryan in towards Aubameyang. He chips the goalkeeper. It's a lovely finish.
One of the most hotly anticipated North London derbies in recent history kicks off the Premier League weekend tomorrow as Arsenal take on Tottenham Hotspur at Wembley. Arsenal's record signing Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is already drawing comparisons with Spurs star striker Harry Kane ahead of this one. The Gunners have been buoyed by the arrival of Henrik Mkhitaryan and Mesut Ozil signing a new deal, but face a Spurs side in great form both at home and on the road. We're joined on the line by Charles Watts, Arsenal journalist for Football London. Charles, thanks very much indeed for joining us. So as you know, Tottenham versus Arsenal this weekend, always a mouth-watering fixture. Arsenal collected the points earlier on in the season, but they are now a much-changed team, as you probably know. How do you see this one going?
It's tough to call. Always tough to call North London derby. It's that cliche of form goes out the window, and it kind of does. Arsenal sort of going into the game at the Emirates a few months ago, I really didn't fancy Arsenal's chances much. They weren't playing well. Tottenham were doing all right. They'd obviously finished above them last season, and yet Arsenal turned up on a day and absolutely smashed them. Really, it was 2-0, but it could have been more. And they were far and away the best team on the day, which just sort of sums up the North London derby. Really, you can never really call it. I think from Arsenal's point of view, it's much better that it's at Wembley. I think if it's at White Hart Lane, it would have been very, very tough, as they've shown in the last few years, where it's been a fair while since they've picked up anything at the Lane in the league. But at Wembley, Arsenal have won 9 in a row. 3 FA Cup finals, 3 FA Cup semi-finals, and 3 Community Shields, and they feel really at home there. So it's not really going to be like a an away game for them. So yeah, I think that will play to their advantage. Big pitch, they've got a lot of pace in the side now with Aubameyang and Mkhitaryan. I think they'll take advantage of that as well. So I'm feeling like Arsenal could certainly get something out of it. I'm not sure they'll win, but I think they'll get a draw. And I think at this stage of the season, given the gap there is between them and Tottenham, they can't afford to lose. And I think if you offer them a draw right now, they'd take it. And I think that's how it's going to pan out. And I know that sounds like I'm sitting on the fence a bit, but I fancy a 1-1 draw, maybe 2-2.
Excellent, Charles. Thanks very much indeed for your time. On to Sunday, and Jacob Potter has joined us in the studio to look ahead to Southampton's next game. So Jacob, who are the Saints facing on Sunday?
So Liverpool travel to Southampton this weekend as the Reds look for all 3 points and possibly a couple of the Saints players to add to their growing collection of players bought from the club. One of the most recent players to swap St Mary's for Anfield is Liverpool's £75 million record signing Virgil van Dijk. The Dutch defender is expected to be fit to face his former club, and Southampton midfielder James Ward-Prowse remains fully focused on getting points with Saints and not on friendships with former teammates.
People move on, and that's fair enough for him. It was a decision made by the club, and that's his career path. But for us, we have to make sure that we do everything we can to win the game, because we are in a tough situation, and we need the points to climb up the table.
On to team news now, and Ragnar Klavan and former Southampton midfielder Adam Lallana are expected to return for Jurgen Klopp's side, but Joe Gomez is ruled out with a knee injury that has kept him out for the last couple of weeks. Whilst Jack Stevens has certainly stepped up for Southampton since Van Dijk's departure, netting 3 goals in as many games, and he'll be looking to carry on that form. Charlie Austin remains the only absentee for the home side with a torn hamstring. Jurgen Klopp will be hopeful of an improvement against Southampton, having only won 2 of his last 9 games against the Saints. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks very much indeed. Thanks very much indeed, Jacob. Mauricio Pellegrino has been holding his news conference ahead of the clash with Liverpool and believes despite the tough challenge ahead, his Southampton side can cause Liverpool problems.
When you play against this side, you have to do everything almost perfect to try to beat this type of team, Champions League team. But for us, I feel also that we are in a good situation to try to play against them.
With the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics taking place earlier today, our reporter Joseph Weeks brings us up to date with all the latest talking points.
They say sport and politics don't mix, but that couldn't be further from the truth this week in Korea. Today, the Winter Olympics officially opened, and despite recent tensions between North and South Korea, the two nations have united to form one ice hockey team. It has been a surprising development, but one that enforces the original ideology of the Olympic movement. Since 1945, the two countries have been at conflict, and no amount of diplomacy has eased the friction. But despite unification, not everybody sees it as a positive. The South Korean ice hockey coach Sarah Murray doesn't agree with the late addition of the North Koreans.
The players, they've earned their spots. They think they deserve to go to the Olympics. Then you have people being added in later. It definitely affects them, but we can't let it bother us. Like, we can't have it be an excuse as to why we don't perform well at the Olympics. We have to do our best regardless of what's happening to us.
Officials now must.
This Winter Olympics could also be the setting of cool run-ins too. Our reporter, Khanna Thompson, tells us why.
So this is it. We could see history in the making.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the ride. Get on up. It's bobsled time.
The team made up of Ngozi Onwumere, Akumu Omega and Sean Adigun are the first ever women bobsledge team to ever represent Nigeria. The women competing in bobsled were originally trained in track and field only to switch to the winter sport a year before qualification. Since then they have achieved a feat which has never been done before, and the girls have made it clear they're not just there to make up the numbers.
We're the Nigerian women's bobsled team. People didn't think we had a chance to make it to the Olympics, so I think that when you talk about things like that, anything can happen, and we're here to compete. We went through a lot of things, a lot of trials to get here, and so I think that it's only right that we give our best effort and represent everyone, not just Nigeria, but Africa as a continent well, and everyone that's supporting us well.
30 years after the Jamaican men's bobsled team took the sports world by storm at the 1988 Calgary Olympics, Nigeria's women are poised to become Korea's unlikeliest stars.
That was Khanna Thompson. Despite the world's eyes being fixed on the Korean peninsula of late, let's hope that the neighbouring countries continue to put their differences aside and let the sporting spirit prevail at the Winter Games.
To rugby union, England face Wales at mouth-watering tie at Twickenham tomorrow, with many dubbing the winner of this match as the overall winner of the Six Nations. Following a 34-7 demolition of Scotland at the Millennium Stadium last weekend, Wales will have a new sense of confidence despite being lumbered with as many as 13 injuries. England, who put on a great display in Rome to beat Italy 46-15, have never lost at home under head coach Eddie Jones and are looking to replicate last year's Grand Slam. We sat down with Welsh legend Shane Williams to find out his thoughts before the biggest matchup of the weekend.
If I had to pick one player from each side, that's going to be dangerous on the weekend, it'd be Watson for England. Been playing particularly well in the Viva Premiership. Scored 2 tries on the weekend, looking very dangerous. And Stephen Evans for Wales, his work rate is phenomenal. He scored as well on the weekend. Goes looking to get his hands on that ball as often as he can, and we'll be wanting that as Welsh people on the weekend. Both teams are very blessed that there's a lot of good young players coming through that will probably be putting their hands up for the next World Cup. Whoever wins on the weekend will probably go on and win the Six Nations. England at home, at Twickenham, at their home is always very tough. But if Wales can go there and win, your confidence goes through the roof. And obviously Wales will have 2 home games and have to go to Dublin. If England win this, I see it very difficult for anyone else to catch them. Ireland will be the only team really that can catch them, but they're playing in Twickenham as well.
And finally, last year's star novice chaser returns to the track on Saturday. Altior is back and will face just 2 rivals in his seasonal debut at Newbury. His trainer Nicky Henderson admits he is at his most vulnerable of a first defeat over jumps, following a procedure to improve his breathing. If all goes well, it's all systems go for the champion chase at the Cheltenham Festival next month.
Simply playing for places, it is Altior, last year's Supreme winner, is going to give Nicky Henderson a 6th win in the Arkle, and it is Altior who wins.
That's all from us now. Remember, you can keep up to date on our website, solentjournalism.co.uk. We'll see you again soon.